Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to Antonia's Blissful Corner. Dr. Pratt is here today.
Hey,
And today we're going to talk about tribe, finding your tribe and what exactly it means for us. So welcome, Dr. Pratt.
hey
Um,
everybody.
and so let's just get right into it. I was thinking about, finding your tribe, finding your tribe.
Mhm.
And I remember when I first learned the term, and I used to think that my tribe were my friends. But as I continued to evolve, I realized that for me, it wasn't, right? And I joined mentorship community, and I found people in there that I thought aligned with me, and I was like, "Oh, my tribe!" And then I realized as I continued to evolve, I'm like, "Oh, that's not it either." So I just wanted to talk about, what exactly is our tribe? Like, what does your tribe look like?
Yeah,
And whether or not it's even a thing, like whether or not,
yeah,
like a tribe, like is even really something.
yeah. That's a
Um,
good point. I I feel like tribe is a multifaceted thing and word for and it may mean something different to other people.
mhm,
So I tend to think of the word community more than I say tribe. Like the tribe for me um, isn't my crew. The tribe is almost like a people I'm forced to be with because I'm this or I'm that. So, as a marketing person or a strategist, I'm in the marketing crew. As a former journalist, I'm in the journalism crew. So when I get emails from those different tribes, the emails aren't necessarily where I'm at today.
mhm,
They're like, "Hey, you should go blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "I want to be taken off this email list, but the tribe would be mad at me. so,
mhm.
so I have to go to tribal council, and I don't really want to go to tribal council. So for me, tribe is a little bit uh, risque word, so to speak, in a sense of aligning with myself. But my community, that's people, that's a place where I want to go. Like
Mhm,
I'm not because I went to this school or because I went through this journey. I'm now put into this box with other people that I wouldn't necessarily be in community with. So I don't have common unity with them.
yeah.
um, but I totally get other people. Everybody comes to the word tribe in a different way. And then I think about the tribal trauma that some people have had to go through because they were born Hutsi or they were born Yoruba or they were born, there's a lot of tribe issues that happens. So for me, tribe's a little bit, but I know that everybody has their own definition and it speaks to them. For me, it's community, and
Mhm,
that's always easy for me to navigate, even in family. Some people say, "Oh, it's not the family you were born with; it's the family you know." And it's like family. Even that concept of family for me is problematic. So I would, sorry, I 3 year old in here. So I would actually, you know, even the word blended family or like family of choice or whatever the words are. I would also be like, so for me, community doesn't have the. I know I chose to be there,
mhm.
choose to live by the house or your apartment. You chose to be on that block or that part of the building or whatever. So there's some choice there versus
Yeah.
it being like I don't have a choice in my family and I don't have a choice in my tribe. But yeah, I totally align with the concept that whatever association you choose to be in, it needs to reflect who you are, and you need to be able to pull some type of energy every day.
Yep.
And I feel really blessed to be a part of this online group that you're also a part of.
Mhm.
That daily we get to go in there, and the founder, she's crazy. I say she's crazy, but she's she's crazy consistent and crazy just like fast, and so and also very vulnerable with where her thoughts are. And sometimes for the introvert, for me, I don't even. I actually think because she's bared her soul to the community, but I also think of her. I think of her less as an extrovert, and she seems to be somewhat private. You know,
Yes.
she has the community and leadership role, but doesn't mean you really know her until she does one of those posts about, her having a topical pregnancy, and you're like, oh, I didn't, I haven't even thought about why she doesn't have children. So, but
Hmm.
she shared that, but she doesn't share that every day. She doesn't share that every month. That was
Right.
like one time last year. And so, I think of her as the ultimate introvert who is in a leadership position and exposes somewhat vulnerabilities or her headspace at least. Maybe not her heart space. She exposes the headspace, but then she backs off, like, and she lets the community, and then if there's somebody who steps out of line, then she's a great disciplinarian, so to speak, or
Hmm.
community leader. But for the most part, she's not popping into a lot of conversations, arguing back and forth, or you know, she just lays down the rules, shares her thoughts, and then lets us have at it, so to speak. Um, but anyway, so I definitely think that as an introvert, it's important for you to pick your space that you
Yep.
show up
I agree. So I hear what you're saying about community versus tribe, and I guess like when I was looking at the terminology tribe, um, I started to think that tribe were with my friends, like my like the
in. Mm-hmm.
people who, well, the few people that I chose that I chose to hang out with. To your point, my crew.
Yep.
But once I started to evolve and learn and understand myself more, I realized that that wasn't the case. Because I guess for me, my tribe. So when I learned that I was an introvert, because before introvert I was shy and socially awkward because I didn't know better. And once I learned introvert, then I realized, oh, my tribe, right? Because then these would be people who would be able to understand me and my struggles of being a quiet person and the pressures in this loud world.
Right.
And as I continue to evolve, I realized that because I've been in spaces. So the one that you speak of just now is indeed, I do love that space because there are people in there sharing and kind of like, inspiring everyone to basically be our best selves on a daily basis. And it helps me to kind of like want to push and do more, right? But I feel like, I guess like just like the term friendship,
Mm-hmm.
tribe is also one of those words that can be, I guess, like misconstrued or like or used incorrectly because for me, I'm not realizing that my tribe would be someone who aligns with me, right? Understands my quirks, right? There's no judgment. I don't feel like I have to perform. I don't feel like I would be forced to do something, right? So this weekend I was thinking about it and I thought about all the times when I was with people who I loved and trusted and how they made me feel uncomfortable. I don't
Mm-hmm.
drink, never have, probably never will, right? And there were times when people would, come on, take a sip, like they would put their glass in my
Mm-hmm.
face. And, back then I would be like, no, and feeling very uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
I would walk away thinking to myself, what if I tipped the glass over or slapped it in it or did that, right? And I thought to myself, they would say I was rude. But you trying to push your alcohol on me, is that not rude? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so I realized that those are not the people who I align with at this stage in my
Right.
life
Right.
because, you don't have my best interest at heart. Because to me, like that's, you're trying to basically force me to do something that I do not want to do. I've never been a person to fall to peer pressure. And at this point, I never will.
Right.
But I just feel like the way that I operate is I like to get to know people and then operate accordingly, right? I'm not going to force you to do something that is uncomfortable to you,
Right. Right.
nor do I want you to do that, right? So, because I remember I was telling someone today that I went to an event once and someone said, "Oh my gosh, if you were not leaving, I would force you to talk to people." And when I left, like I had anxiety thinking, oh my God.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, and that's just like, um, thank God you're married, because I would definitely rape you. It's like what?
right, right.
That's not reflection.
No, it's not cool. No. And it goes back to like us in the swimming, right? Oh, I can't swim. Okay, jump in anyway.
Yeah, that's that. Or throw, yeah, that was yeah. It's going back to that thing though with the not thing though, but the going back to the alcohol or the you drink. What do you say to people who? I know this is what I heard when I first got to Brooklyn. I lived on Green Avenue between
Hmm.
Malcolm X and Stuyvesant, and it was a Caribbean restaurant on the corner of Stuyvesant and Malcolm X. No, Stuyvesant and Green. And I had never had roti before. I think it was, I want to say like 94, 93. And I went to the shop, to roti shop. And I got a roti, a fresh roti. I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is so good. So like every day for like a month, I ate roti every day, like different roti.
Hmm.
So the lady was like, you don't want sorrow? And she was like, I was like, no, I just want roti. And she was like, but you gotta have sorrow with the roti. And I was like, no, I'm good. I just want the roti. And so a friend of mine was like, you're real rude. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, she just offered you sorrow. I said, well, I don't want sorrow. He's like, it's rude to not take what Caribbean people offer you because that's their nature. Their nature is to offer things to you. So I grew up, not say grew up, but I was 20. I grew up thinking that most Caribbean people are going to offer you something in spite of the fact that you don't want it. And so I was, for a long time, I was very careful to always accept. And so this funny story, I got my first divorce. I moved out and I got separated. And the quickest and cheapest place I could find was Eastern Parkway, Seventh Day Adventist house. And for people that don't know, Seventh Day Adventist Caribbean people are really strict and
Yes,
serious. They don't play.
yes.
So at 7 a.m. every day, I was awakened for saltfish and aki.
Yep.
And I had never tasted aki in my life. And so I was sitting there every morning eating saltfish and aki and like just swallowing down. I didn't think nothing about how it's bitter or it's salty. Or I just thanked them and I said because they had given me, I had to get out of the marriage and the house that I lived in, like overnight basically. And one of the people who worked at my job, she lived in the Eastern Parkway, so she called around, found a room for me, and so I was just so happy that I could, come in and crash, and I had power and internet, and I was like, this is great. It was dial-up modem, but still, it was, that was, everybody had dial-up modem.
Yep.
My
Yep.
point was just like, I had to get out, like literally get out that night.
Mhm.
And so, um, I just accepted. So for me, I'm saying all that to say, the question I have for you, especially as from somebody from the Caribbean, is how do you navigate that people think that that's what they're supposed to do? Like, I'm sorry, if the reputation of the people is that they're overly what's the word, overly uh, hospitable,
Uh-huh.
and that's the reputation. Like some of the people, like Italian people, especially old school Italian mothers, will fill your plate. Like I'm real about eating, and I don't like to see a plate full because I already get anxiety. So I'm like, just I always tell people, just make me a small plate, please. They're like, small plate. They look at me like, you 250 pounds. Wow. Yeah. They're like, you on a diet? I'm like, no, I just don't like to feel like I have pressure to eat a lot of food.
Yes.
So I've learned to say small plate, like first thing out of my mouth, or just go make my own plate. But someplace they want you to sit down, they want to make the plate for you. So anyway, my question was, how do you navigate that when that's considered the nature of the place? So for me, when you said that, I thought about all that came up like, oh, that's that, yeah. Drink this, drink this, drink this, drink this.
No.
You're like,
No.
good.
I don't know which island. I don't know who told you that, but that, and I can't speak for any other island. I'm from Jamaica. That ain't a thing. So so I came to this country when I was young. So there's a lot of things that I wasn't exposed to. And my mother, when we were growing up, my mother never cooked two pots unless she was cooking something that was abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
At least what I would consider abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
My stepfather was Bajan, and he liked a lot of things that were exotic. Cow's tongue, cow skin, cow foot, cow this, but nah. So that's the only time that mommy would make a separate pot because she would not
Yeah.
force me and my sister
Yeah.
to eat that, right?
Right.
Um, when I go places, I'm the first to, like, if I go to a family function, I'm the first to say who cooked what. Because I don't eat from any and anybody. That's just how it is. If someone offer me something and I don't eat it, I'm not eating it.
Yep.
One time I was sick, like sick,
Mm.
and someone went and bought me some nice chicken soup. And I said, "What kind of soup is this?" They said, "Chicken soup." I said, "What's in it?" They said, "Chicken." I said, "What part of the chicken?"
Right.
Right?
Beef,
And as soon
neck,
as I did,
thigh.
like, no, well, I don't mind the regular parts,
That's
but
what I'm
as
saying.
soon as I did like this, they were foot like this. I said, I'm not eating that. I'd rather die. I'm not like so.
You must eat
So
chicken.
I've never heard of anyone saying that it's rude to not, because at the end of the day, sorrel isn't a drink that is, it's, I feel like it's left up to the person's, individual palate. And I think that's how it is with any drink, because some people don't like something that's too sweet, too sour, too bitter. Like with the food, I'm very like anywhere I go, I like the basic. Give me chicken. I like the basic stuff. I don't do calamari and all of that. So I don't mind saying I'm not, because I'd rather tell you that I don't want it than to take it and waste it.
The one time I did that, and I said I want it. I'll never forget it. It was from a Trinidadian,
Hmm.
and she had came to work with hot sauce.
Oh yeah.
So, and it smelled good. It smelled the whole break room. I was like, dang, that stuff smells good. So she was like, you want it? I was like, yes, yes, yes. And she didn't say nothing to me. She didn't say, put a little
It's
bit
hot.
on this stuff. Because it was in a jar of yellow, you know,
Hmm.
and it was not, there was no label. So this was homemade.
Yep.
I forgot. I think I might have had some like oxtail. I had something that was Caribbean also, but we worked at a office that allowed you to either you could eat what they were bringing in that day, or
Hmm.
a function or whatever. They had functions every single day, so we really didn't have to go out for lunch, or you could order from the company account. So we were always ordering from the different restaurants and right there, and they were decent restaurants. But anyway, so I oxtail. So I put the yellow hot sauce all over the rice and beans. Oh my god! I think I was burning
So no one
for
is
two
no
days.
one stopped you.
I was
No one.
burning for 2 days.
Nobody didn't say no. That's too much.
No, no, and that's the woman that took me to Trinidad for carnival, and yeah, no, I did. So that taught me that I don't know what it is, and no one explained. Like you said, no one explained to me. I'm not gonna touch. Now, eventually, I love sorrow, and I came to love sorrow and everything. But the way this
Hmm.
lady was saying sorrow, sorrow, and I was like, no, no, I was like, I was like, I remember what happened when I gave that yellow pepper,
Yeah.
and man, so I feel you. I definitely I married eventually. When my third marriage was to a Bayesian also,
Hmm.
and so that was hilarious because she was Bayesian and Cuban, and it was just so many different things I had never experienced. Even though I thought I had been to Carnival. This was in the 2000s, so I had been to Carnival. I had twice. I had been to every single Eastern Parkway parade. So I thought, and I was part of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce. So I really thought I didn't think that was Caribbean, but I really thought I understood Caribbeans. And I
Hmm.
married this Bayesian woman. Yeah, every island is different.
Yeah.
Yep,
Every island is definitely different.
definitely.
But I will say I don't know. I can't speak for the other islands, but Jamaicans, when it comes to food, 'cause we love food. I love food. I'm a foodie.
Uh-huh.
But I'm the first to say, like, cause I remember, like, I used to go out to dinner with my Asian friends, and I never wanted to be the one to, go someplace that they didn't want to go.
Right, right.
and because they love to try food. I'm not trying anything, right? So they were like, Antonia, what do you want? And I said, look, I said, a salad and chicken is on every menu.
Yeah.
I can find salad or chicken on any menu, on any menu, right? Because we did go to a place once and they ordered something. It had squid in it.
Mm.
My thing is to each his own, right? It's just that I'm not accustomed to these things. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not trying it.
And
I know
you don't have an impetus to try it. You
I do
never tried
not.
it.
I do not, like, I've never
You're not
tried.
pressed to try it.
I am nope. Nope. I went out to lunch with years ago, with a colleague. She was leaving, so I went out with our manager at the time, and they decided to get calam. No, decided to get escargot,
Oh, oh.
and I was like, "No, I'm good." And they were like, "No, no, no, it's really good. You should try it." No, 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 I'm good.
Nah.
So people tell me, "Oh my gosh, Antonio, you should widen your horizon. You should try." No, I'm not. No,
It's
I'm.
always interesting when people tell you what you should do, because like that brings up, we talk about maybe our next topic is relationships, but I think every woman I ever been with, except my current wife, who I've been with for 10 years, and we met online, so we were dating online, or we were flirting online for a year, so really 11 years.
Mhm.
I She's never said you gotta try this. Now she'll say I can cook. Like, I don't like eggplant. I really don't. I don't know the smell of something. I just
Mhm.
can't eat eggplant for me. But her fried eggplant, I do occasionally. I'll take a piece and something. It's decent. It's not as bad as I remember eggplant, because it was really soggy as growing up. Eggplant
Yeah.
was disgusting.
Yeah.
Eggplant was disgusting.
Yeah.
But it was like chitlins. Ugh. But
And no.
yeah. But my wife, she never was the type of person that said you gotta try it. Like, it was like, yeah, you could try this. I make it better or something. But and I always thought it was interesting. Like, I kind of felt like it was reverse psychology, but it wasn't. She honestly just doesn't. She's an introvert also. She just doesn't give a fuck. She don't care. She
Yeah.
like, you can try it or not. I don't give. I'm not pressed to make you try this. Like, you
Right.
said you don't want it.
Don't
Good.
eat it.
It's
Yeah.
more for me.
What?
And it's like, really? Like, you really feel that way? So that was a real. I haven't thought about it until you just said it. It's really a really good. Um, we're doing a podcast called "Love You Regardless,"
Mhm.
and we're bitching about the stuff that both of us don't like about each other, but we still love each other.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things I never thought about, but I really do appreciate it. She doesn't.
Force you.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
whatever, Nick, bro. I don't care. You
Because
know,
it because it makes it uncomfortable.
I never
It,
thought about it until you brought that up. But I
yeah.
don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
it really. And it's
Like.
like what you say at 53 rather. I was thinking about 40 at 53, but like 53. But having that ability to choose, like the person I speak to every day except her is this guy by the name of 10G,
Mhm.
and we have the same mindset. We both actually New Yorkers. We both our grandfather. He's 3 years old. He's 56. But like, we have that same mindset, like, nah, I'm good. Like, he goes to sleep at 9 o'clock religiously every day.
Wow.
I call him at 10. He be like, yo, why are you calling me so late? I'm like, "God, nigga." He's like, bro, I'm asleep at 9. Yeah, it's an emergency. I gotta ask you about something. So, but it's so hilarious. But to your point, I've never, like, we argue a lot. Our point or our discussion point,
Mhm.
um, like, he one good one. I forgot to sing you this. I gotta sing you this. YouTube is doing something now where they're giving you double views on all your videos starting today.
Wow.
Yes, it's so cool. But on that topic, he was like, I should upload I should upload an old video, re-upload an old video that I had that did really well. I was like, why would you do that? I hate when people do that. I hate when people, like, if I saw your video 2 years ago, and then I get a notice because I'm subscribed to you that you upload a new video, and it's the same exact video I saw to you, I'm so mad.
Because the next time it pops up, then I'm not gonna look because it's probably another a remix one.
I never got that far, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not that tapped into my subscribers. But yes, I totally. So we argued for like a half an hour about that. Like he really is adamant. So my point is that I'm not with somebody who's a yes person. I just really don't. People have. I prefer people who have different points of view. and they're not. But it's really good. While I'm not with a yes person, I'm not with somebody also, or I'm not around people that are like mad that I don't agree or I don't partake of the way that they partake. So
Right.
we can still be good friends, talk to each other every
Yes.
day, even though I know he's a double uploader. You know.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that because there have been times in my life where I actually would ask the people who were friends, right? Or close acquaintances. I'm like, if you had to describe me, what would you say? And it's always good stuff. And I'm like, no, I need to know the good and dirty. Like, cause I'm not shy about telling people about themselves, not telling them off, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But cause I feel like this. I'm that female where in the summertime, if I'm walking on the street and a woman is walking with her bag, sometimes the bag is positioned in a way and it'll right up their skirt. So
Yeah,
I'm the one to go and be
especially
like,
the
Miss,
backpacks. Yeah.
yeah, I'll be like, Miss, your skirt, right? And when I tell people, they're like, you told her? And I'm like, yeah, because my thing is, if it were me, I would want someone to tell me. Like, I just feel like it's the human thing to do.
And
But a lot of
if
people,
it's your family too, a family member, I
yeah,
I'll
I
never
just feel,
forget. Do you remember the lowrider jeans?
yes.
So this older lady was at a Real Men Cook event in front of the state office building in Harlem on 25th Street. And I say older, she was probably in her 60s. This was I don't know, beginning of 2000s. And because lowrider jeans was out, and they had the I call them the stripper pocketbooks, the little pocketbooks that everybody had.
Yeah.
And so that summer, that the low-rise jeans hit every size. Like the first they were low-rise only a certain size. Then they came every size.
Hmm.
Her underwear was bunched up and above her waist.
Hmm.
So it was like it wasn't a thong, but it was stuck. And so she kept bending over, and I just was like, "Yo, I don't think this 60-year-old woman really knows that she's showing off her panties, and not just showing off. The panties is all like it's hot because it's outside, so it's hot
Yeah.
and sweaty.
Yeah.
It was a mess. And what
Yeah.
really pissed me off about low rise jeans was like, not everybody should wear them.
No.
I really didn't like anybody wearing them, but so everybody's butt cheeks and crack was out that summer. It was like
Hmm.
butt crack everywhere. I was like, oh god. And so I was debating myself. Do I tell her? Do I not tell her? Do I tell her? Do I not tell her? Do I tell her? And I was like, okay, I'll tell her. And I had to figure out. It was the most awkward conversation that I've ever had with a woman that I didn't know. And I
Hmm.
was like, excuse me, I just want you to know that your panties are showing. My panties? What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And she told me a story of how she was bought by her granddaughter, bought the jeans for her, and she never liked them, but there was the only thing that was clean that morning, so she wanted to, get to the event, and she was part of Real Men Cook was, we, different men, we made up different dishes, and then when people came out and they either bought or we gave away the food or whatever. But
Hmm.
it's supposed to be an annual event. Anyway, she was a volunteer, she really wanted to be there on time. So I was like, yeah, so she actually went and changed her and went home and got another pair of pants and then came back. Um, but that was the most, distracting thing I saw that day. It was just like
Yeah.
every time the sister bent over, or even she walked past, like she bent over, and it was stuck in your butt, and you walked past, and it was such a it feels like that. Like I always talk in my head. I always say not to the world, but somewhat to the world. Occasionally, whenever I talk to people one on one. That's the other thing about introverts. We should probably another topic. Is do do you when do you talk in person versus in your head, and what is it that you're actually willing to share with the world versus
Yeah.
with yourself? But I always blame the lowrider jeans, the stripper pocketbooks, to the changing of like of how we valued women. I feel like a certain group of people in fashion wanted people to devalue women, and I feel like that was a start. And I'm married to somebody that believes that you should wear whatever you want to wear, however you want to wear it. But I think that part of that problem, that choice place, is that no one is talking about okay, you can do what you want, but the choice also is of the person who sees you a certain way or perceives you a certain way. There's no um, maturity required. So,
Mhm.
so it's like you can choose to do whatever you want to, yeah. But the most immature person, and that person infects somebody else. Infects. So I just couldn't stand that summer. I was like, that's the worst. I mean, low light
But you see, and what you just explained, right? I feel like that's where a tribe comes in, right? Because tribe
influence.
could be your person.
But look, I
Could be
tried
like,
them. They bought the pants.
no, yes, but then I'm thinking about that lady, and I'm thinking she had no one around that could have said to her, "Hey, sis," you know what I'm saying? And I feel like
But the
because
tribe
that,
was down with the fashion. They were down with the fad. It's
right,
like
but
the
I,
tribe was trying to get you to drink the alcohol. They was down with the alcohol, even though you wasn't. You know what I'm
and
saying?
it, yeah, it's true, right? But I just feel like, when and I guess this is where we are now, although that was a while ago. But
A
I
long
just
time.
feel like as women, right? Because women should be a tribe, even if you don't know, right? So
Mhm.
you see someone, and if something is out of place,
Say
say
something.
something.
Yeah.
Now I get it where because some people would be like, oh no, I'm not saying nothing because I don't want them to cuss me out, and I'm like, you know what? That's a chance that I'm willing to take because if my skirt was all the way up in my neck,
Okay.
I would want somebody to let me know, hey sis, your butt cheek is showing because your dress done rolled up because of your bag, right? There's no conversation, right? And I always
Yeah.
think, how many people done saw that lady, that no one saw to
But
say
the other side of the table is that people actually think, and this is where it becomes, to your point, as a good neighbor or a good tribal council member. Like you can have a tribe, but they actually maybe are not the tribe that has your best interest because
that's the point.
but it's not that they. The other side of what Gurney say is that it's not this that they have your best interest. They don't necessarily have anybody's best interest because
That's
they're totally cool with the fact. And matter of fact, some unfortunately some relationships I've been in, I went to tell somebody that they whatever was messed up, male or female, and they were like, the person I was with was like, why? Like you said, why'd you tell them? And I was like, well, why didn't you tell them? They're like, well, I thought they wanted it that way. I was like, really? They want their butt out? And that's what I swear to God, a lot of people, and that's why I feel like the tribe is kind of impacted by society and where society is at versus
mhm.
the community that you choose. You know, we're like minded. We're like we actually like to go over each other's house. We actually like. I mean, it's not the way that it real works in the real world because the real world you're next to knucklehead, so you're like, oh, how did I buy? I mean, I bought this house and the knucklehead moves in next to me, so that's not a good neighbor. Like we're
Right.
neighbors, but and we vote the same way at the HOA meeting, but like I
That's
would
it.
never go over their house.
That's it.
Right. They're flying a flag. We'll say what flag we know what it is.
hmm
But I feel like the community you choose your good name. You choose people who, hey, you might not want to drink that drink that was just recalled last week. I saw it in the newspaper was recalled. Like really?
But you
Yeah.
get anyway.
Right. It's like no. It's like so because you look out for them, they look out for you.
Yes.
That's the kind of neighborhood I used to have. I used to live in, and I think that's the community. I don't know the tribe. Sometimes I feel like the tribe. It's like the tribe called Quest, and it's like with music groups. Like you just think, oh, they're a good group.
Yeah.
They make good music. That's true.
That's it. Yeah. And I get I hear that, right? I hear you. Um and I guess I'll just continue to contemplate tribe and what it means, like for me, right?
Right. So
Because
you got a
yeah,
good tribe. That's the thing. You got a good tribe. Like that. And that's a blessing, from God to be able to have a tribe that actually shows up like a tribe will go to war for you. What's the name? They'll protect you. That's when you can create that energy and synergy in a tribal way.
hmm
I think about The Rock a lot, and I think like he said something. He's in that movie, he's in that documentary I watched. He was saying how he didn't take his kids with him, and he blames the dissolution of his first marriage to the fact he didn't take his kids with him. And so now he's like, if I travel, we travel. If good, we do. If so, we do. Like he's like, hey, ain't no
as a unit.
said the same thing. He has, I think, 8 or 9 relatives living with his father, his 2 daughters, his uncle, his aunt, their son. Like he's like, Jamie rises, we all rise, and each one of them got their own jobs in Hollywood, not attached to his production company, just really their own real work in
Yeah.
Hollywood. So nobody in his family, immediate family, is bad mouthing anything in Hollywood because he's like, y'all working the same. Like we go down, we go down.
Yeah.
Not Jamie go down, we all go down. We go
Yeah.
up, we all go up.
Right. So, and I think, and what you did describe, because then it reminds me of DJ Envy on the Breakfast Club. Because like apparently like he just wrote a book with his family, and they on the front cover they all have on the same clothing, but he's always talking about his family, like his wife
Mm-hmm.
and kids,
Yep.
and how he's basically that sports dad, like he goes to the ballet recitals, and he enjoys it, right? But they do things together as a unit, and I guess in some respect that's kind of like a tribe, right?
Yes, that's a little
um
tribe.
yeah, right, because what you
Tough
just
tribe.
described with like with Jamie Foxx, it's almost as if like your tribe, whether it's your chosen family or what, it should be a safe space of
Yeah.
authentic people who have your back even if you're not there,
Right.
right?
Even
And I
even if you don't have your own back, they got your back.
exactly, right?
You
And
do
I
gotta
feel
keep
like as
that.
I continue to evolve, I realize that I don't have a tribe.
No.
Because I feel like if there are a list of 5 things,
Mm-hmm.
then two might be missing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think that what sometimes happen in life is I tend to make excuses for people, right? So I tend to, if this person is bad, well, it would like it's always something, and it's
Yeah,
like so
we give them the
the
grace.
past,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And but I'm at a stage in my life now where I'm like, you know what, now that I have tasted what being alone is, I'm good, like I'm perfectly fine with waiting until my tribe finds me. Like I'm no longer, because I feel like the community will be built, and I think from there lasting bonds, right? Because I always wanted to have my girlfriends, and we go like on a girls trip, and it's like, all right, Antonia, hang it up.
And it's like sort of like we give them a benefit of the doubt, but what's the benefit? Like that's a really good point. So it's like, what is the benefit of giving someone the benefit of the doubt? Like if you have doubts, they have doubts for a reason, and so like let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, what's the
Right.
benefit of doubt?
Right.
What doubt? What good thing comes from doubting somebody? So what is
Exactly.
the benefit of doubt? Like that's the thing about these sayings that we had so passed down to us. It's like they were right on the nose. Like
Yeah.
if you just look at the actual saying, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, no, I don't think that's
Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
right. It's like yeah, and somebody shows who they are, just believe them.
Believe them.
It's like yeah, okay, yeah, right. So. I think in the light of or the frame of an introvert and being better, and kind of my takeaway from this conversation is that um, not to allow the usual suspects, fear or just I would say for me laziness. I just don't like to communicate because it's lazy. Like I'm just lazy. I'm like I don't want to talk to you. But like not to allow that to stop you from creating the community or the tribe or building the tribe that you need, because I do believe that the more older I get, I hated to hear this because I was always a lone soldier,
Hmm.
or lone wolf, but I do believe you don't grow as fast if you don't have
Oh,
a community, right, or
I,
people
I,
around you.
a
I think you
a
can
hundred
grow,
percent.
but I just don't think
But
you grow as fast and as good. You grow, but it's not as good because you can't catch everything.
you cannot.
And if you have a tribe that catch this one catches that one catches this one, and that they don't always have to be that they tap into you. They could actually call them and tap into them, but having a kaleidoscope of I don't want to use a D word because I'm trying to keep away from that D word because it's so triggering. Having a kaleidoscope of
I like that though.
um, uh, helps a lot with decision making and decide
It
and
does.
and you'll see stuff come back to you in 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, and you're like your tribe has already got you there.
Yeah.
You're already past that. You're like, so and so, like, I switched companies 2 months ago. Yeah, so that kind of
Yeah.
thanks to my tribe member, though, not me.
I I agree. Like so, and that's one of the reasons why I want to, have a community because I think there are not enough spaces for introverts to gather.
Mm,
And I think that based on my experience, so many spaces that I've been in, even introverted ones, like I felt uncomfortable, right? Because if you don't know the person or you're just tired, whatever, like a myriad of reasons. And I think that especially for the those who are not really sure of themselves or the ones basically growing up now, right, in this world,
exactly.
I think that it's so important for them to be educated, right, so that they can act accordingly. I'm happy that I found my voice now. And I said to somebody in the office today, I don't remember what we were watching. I don't remember what I was looking at. I think it was something on social media. And I was like, oh boy, to have that kind of courage or that
Mm,
voice. And he was like, no, 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 you're fine just where you are, right? And I realized that because I've evolved from being the quiet person to now basically, because I don't go out of my way to insult people or anything like that,
right,
right?
right.
But I'm at the space now where I will defend my honor because I think for so many years,
Or your
um,
piece.
yes, right. So I choose to, for the peace of everybody, I choose to just stay quiet. And I feel like if you come poking a bear and then I roar back, then
That's on you. Yeah. I was over the corner minding my business.
yeah,
You call the Antonia Allen, and so you get Antonia.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that it would be interesting to maybe have a two-part to this, and maybe start to bring in guests, talk about, even I think about this guy I'm thinking about who's a therapist,
Hmm.
and ask him about workplace environments. He's an executive coach, but also a licensed therapist.
Hmm.
But he helps executives in the C-suite navigate. And so my question to him would be about what you just said. It's like, hey, Antonia shows up. She's doing her job. She's in the back of the room, and this upper management person says, "Well, Antonia, what do you think?" And so now Antonia has a choice to decide as an introvert to speak up and say her piece, which she's known to be the person that's not necessarily in agreement with everything. And does that impact how she maneuvers through the company? And if so, how could she maneuver in a way? How like so what you just said made me think of is the onus on, like you said, poking a bear. So does a person, notwithstanding the conversation we had before we started the podcast, notwithstanding that person, but just in general from a management perspective, do they call on you because they know you're going to give a different perspective, and then do you show up in that role, or do they call on you because they genuinely want to know, curious about what you want, what you say, and then in that case, do you actually share what your thought is? Like, this is a dumb idea, or are you political and give it the political answer, and how does that affect because what happens with people that are safe in corporation spaces, a lot of times you get stuck. People who take chances are the ones that kind of rewarded, kind of,
Yeah.
the shut chance. So I'm curious to see what HR people and like Jewel being an executive coach, what they would say about that for the advice for the introvert, because
Yeah, I think it's a good
that
idea.
can kind of backfire. It's great not great, but it's okay in relationships. But I don't know at work, Antonio. Like, I don't know if Antonio, the bear needs to come out at work. Again, with notwithstanding the conversation we had earlier. But I mean, I'm thinking about it in a conference room, and there's like 12, 10 people, and the usual suspects speak up, but then they look at you because they're like, she's not speaking up, and she never speaks up. Or when she does, she always has something profound to say. Antonio, now.
And then they told me like, I'm fine. I mean, I don't know. There've been times when there. Okay, so when we were still at home before we went back to the office,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were on
yeah,
Teams, right? We were on
yeah,
Teams,
yeah, yeah,
and my face was always like this. To the point where one of my colleagues would text me on my phone like, "What is wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Why?" She's like, "Why do you look so angry?"
You
I'm
look
like,
pissed
"I'm not
off.
angry."
You look bad, pissed off. Like,
But that's just my resting face, right? And we were one of the meetings that we were in. My thing is, if we schedule the meeting for an hour, I'm gonna need to be done in an hour because I got work to do, right? And this lady, towards the end of the conversation, this lady started to talk, and she's one of those like she just goes, oh,
oh,
all these
I know,
things, and I'm
I
sitting
know,
there
right,
like,
right.
and I'm looking at everybody that's there, and they're all chuckling, giggling, they're carrying on, and I was like, are we done? Can I go? And they all started to laugh. I didn't mean it for it to sound anyway, but the thing is, y'all try to entertain this. I'm not. I got work to do.
Right.
You know? And so I think the problem is that sometimes we don't mean for it to sound harsh, but it sounds harsh because we don't speak usually. And so
Yeah, that's a good
right,
point.
so I know that mine is, things that I say is
Mm-hmm.
usually just dry. And people in the workspace that it's just dry. Like sometimes, like the other day, somebody
Or
asked me, "Do you?"
direct, or direct. You don't have, you
Yeah,
don't have
and for me, like I don't sugarcoat things. Like and because people would say, "Oh, it's rude," whatever have you, and I don't think that it is. I am me authentically, right?
Right.
So what you see is what you get. I'm not going to say, "Oh my God, that's so nice," when it's not. I'm not. The other day, someone said, "Oh, we're gonna do this. Do you want to help?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that." Right? And I do also think that the tone also matters. Like, so it depends on who you are, right? So if somebody that I align with say, "Hey, do you want to?" Nah, I'm good. And if it's somebody else, nah, I'm not doing that. And it's like the hood and everything, right? And then I think it's received a certain way, like, so. But now I'm doing my best to, because now that I realize that, okay, your voice, like, you're done, released it. Bring it back.
Valid.
Bring
Yeah, you can't
it
take it
back.
back.
So but yeah, I just feel like I offer my opinion when I know that it's truly needed. Like, I don't want to
Right.
use my voice just to participate in a conversation to say that I participated.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I was,
it's like your energy. Think about your phone, right?
yeah.
And if it's starting to drain, and you're gonna be very particular with what you're gonna do with you need to do what? Make a phone call? Can you call the person later? Because my battery's dying. My battery's dying right now.
Yeah. I question myself on my side whether or not I think I mean to be as I tell my wife that I'm an a-hole much before we got married, so she would um, not be surprised by any of my actions that I took to not towards her but just in life. And so she was like, you're not one." And I was like, "I am." She's like, "No, you just are really direct with what you feel needs to happen in that moment. You're not doing it because of to be just an ass, but you're um, you're really, you know what you want, and you know where you want the person to land at, and so you don't mince any words about that. But that said, when you said what you said, I was thinking about my how many times I've been in meetings with people, and I've been like, there was this one guy, Hollywood came calling, and this was a new movie coming out, and the funder from Italy, and George Floyd had just happened, so he had the you people thing, and he was like, "Yo, I'm really sorry for what you people are going through right now in America." So that was the first red flag. I don't know what he said. It was like 5 minutes into the meeting. It was about $20,000 to $30,000 on the line, and the people that brought me to the meeting, they were getting, they got their check. They had already got their 50K. So now I was in that meeting to close the deal with my part of marketing and get my money, and it was like, nope. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, I wish you guys luck. I'll see you guys later. I said to everybody except the guy, I was like, I, however, wish you fail. And the project never took off, but and the guys got paid too. But I just said to say that there are times I'm definitely, as I get older, I'm definitely intentionally, but I think that a lot of times it's not. I don't know if it's just the directness. I think it's also that people don't expect you to speak your mind because you don't speak your mind.
That's exactly it.
And so it's like if you don't say a lot, you nod or you like I write a lot, so I'll text somebody. I even while the meeting's happening, I'll send an email out and I'll be like, well, according to email, I just sent you all of you. Here's the links and they're like, oh, what's that? Okay. But that's how I push past the couple questions that I included in the email, versus having to really defend the idea or whatever, back up somebody. So I just like just send it an email.
Hmm.
It's in your inbox with the links, so you can decide for yourself. But I like this conversation. I definitely think it's a part two, especially on the work side. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna reach out to a couple people. See
Yes, please.
I know also on the relationship side, I think that would be interesting too to have. Um, I'm trying to think of a good couple to come on to
Hmm.
talk about their relationship and how they show up, because I think that's another part of this is that the person next to you who's with you, like how you and your mom are. You bring up your mom a lot, and I shout out to your mom
Thank you.
for recent helping me out. Um,
Oh yeah.
it so that there's a synergy, but there's also a difference. And so like even in that mother daughter or parent child relationship or best friend relationship, and maybe it's not just a couple, maybe it is other people. Because I could definitely have 10G come on, and we can talk about how we definitely don't agree on our stuff. But we do agree on probably the most important parts.
Yes.
And we do admire each other's tenacity on this, even the stuff that I don't agree with him on. I admire him for standing his ground, so to speak, and doubling, tripping down on the dumb shit that he does. But it's like it's dumb to me. For him, it's like nah. It's just like,
Right.
he'll say the same thing with me.
Hmm.
So that how that plays out when you're in, and I don't know that he's really a extrovert. I think he plays an extrovert at work more so than
Hmm.
he's actually an extrovert personality.
Yeah.
So he has to play that at work, um, as he interviews all these politicians and celebrities and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I think that would be a good topic. Relationships, and then how does an introvert show up at work, um, and what is it? What's best practices for an
Hmm.
introvert?
I'm making notes.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think it is important. For so many years, we've kind of just assumed the position of being quiet, and accepting the insults, right? So whether they're direct or indirect, um, and then it just make us feel less of ourselves, right? Because we already feel awkward, and when they do things to either put you on the spot, because that's one of the things that I don't love is basically being put on the spot.
right.
um you know and and the thing is, we don't want to be included, but we don't want to be excluded either. Like, give us the option.
That's kind of
Give us the
interesting.
option to say
I
no,
hadn't thought
right?
about that.
But I do think that,
Mm.
especially with the changing world, it would be interesting to speak with someone in HR who is familiar and who can share tips about how introverts can safely navigate corporate America now. Um, because I do believe that we're at a stage now where it is very important to find your voice and to use it, but it should be
Yep.
used carefully.
Yep.
It should be used carefully, because we don't want to be out of a job.
Right.
But I just think that, a lot of us never really had advocates, and especially if people didn't really understand us, then we would pretend to be extroverted to just get through the days. And I think that's how a lot of people fall into this state of depression or sadness, because it's draining. We end up basically resenting people, right? Because they force us to do things that we don't want to do, or they say things that are unkind, and we don't know how to respond to it until 10 years later. It's like, that's what I should have said. you know so yes, I do welcome having someone on so that we can have that conversation. Yay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this week's session.
Thank you.
Sorry
It
to call
was
you
good.
Dr. Antonia. For letting me
Huh?
sit
I'm
on the.
sorry.
I
I
started
missed it.
start calling you Dr. Antonia for letting me sit on the couch.
Okay. I'll take it. Thank you, Dr. Pratt. This was a very, very good conversation again. And I look forward to having a guest so that we can definitely expand on this topic. So thank you, everyone. And, drop that in the comments and let us know what is your definition of a tribe, whether or not you have a tribe or whether or not you even want to have a tribe, so that we can, learn more and grow more together. It is our time. Introverts unite in our own spaces, but unite nevertheless. So please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
All
Take
right,
care.
y'all.